Hello, my awesome chemists. We are continuing chapter 10, the mole, and today we're going to talk about hydrates. So, when you are hydrated, that means that you have water in you. If you're dehydrated, then you don't have water. So, hydrates are ionic compounds that have water trapped in their crystal. So, an ionic compound, remember, is when you have a metal and a nonmetal bonded together. So, something like calcium sulfate. Some ionic compounds, if you leave them out, they will actually absorb moisture from the air and become hydrated. So for this one here, for every mole of calcium sulfate, there are 2 moles of water trapped inside of that mole of calcium sulfate. When we name it, we name it like normally, so calcium sulfate, and then we use a prefix and then the word hydrate to tell us how many moles of water per mole of anhydrous there is. Anhydrous means not hydrated, so the calcium sulfate part by itself would be the anhydrous. With water, we'd call it a hydrate. So this would be called calcium sulfate dihydrate. When you write the formula, you write the formula of your ionic substance and then a dot, kind of like a multiplication sign, and then 2H2O, or however many H2Os there are. So let's look at number 1 here on worksheet 6. It says, which of the following is a hydrate? So the first one, that is an ionic substance with some water, so yes, it is a hydrate. N2O5, no water, it's actually covalent even, so that is not a hydrate. Al2SO4 that is ionic, but doesn't have any water in it, so that's not a hydrate. Nickel sulfite hexahydrate, that is ionic and it's a hydrate. Letter E, ammonium hydroxide. That doesn't have any water in it. No, it's not a hydrate. Oops, it's an X. Dicarbon hexahydride. That is also not a hydrate. Dicarbon hexahydride is C2H6. It's hydride, not hydrate. So they're trying to trick us there. Let's move on to number 2. It says how many moles of water are in each of the following. So Na2SO4.6H2O, there are 6 moles of water. Okay, the next one, we have 3 of these. And each of these has 5 moles of water, so 3 times 5 would be 15 moles of water total in here. Al2SO4, well, we said that's not a hydrate, so it has no water in it. Next one, 5VaCl2.3H2O. So we have 5 of these big things. Each of them have 3 waters, so 5 times 3 is 15 again. Letter E, 2 moles of nickel sulfite hexahydrate. So nickel sulfite hexahydrate, this tells us there are 6 moles of water in one of them. We have 2 moles of this whole thing, so 2 times 6 is 12. Next one, 5 moles of copper sulfate heptahydrate. So hepta means 7, and we have 5 moles. Each mole has 7, so 5 times 7 is 35. And then finally, 7 moles of dicarbon hexahydride. We said dicarbon hexahydride is not even a hydrate. It's 0 because it's hydride, not hydrate. Okay, let's move down to number 7 in our worksheet. We'll do this one together. It said, what is the percentage of water in nickel 2 sulfite hexahydrate? So we want percent of water. We learned about percent composition. We said percent of anything is going to be its mass divided by the total times 100%. So percent of water is going to be the mass of the water over the total mass, and then times 100%. It would probably be helpful to figure out what nickel 2 sulfite hexahydrate is. So let's do that. I'm going to go ahead and use a different color here. So nickel 2 means Ni2 plus. Sulfite is SO3 2 minus, so nickel sulfite is NiSO3. Hexahydrate, there's my dot, and then that means 6H2O. So that's my formula for nickel 2 hexahydrate. So we're trying to find the mass of the water, and we're trying to find the total mass. They don't give us any numbers whatsoever, so we're going to have to pick an amount. Again, you can always pick any amount that you want. Here, I would suggest to look at 1 mole because we can find the molar mass of both the water and the whole compound here. So I'm going to look at a 1 mole sample. So in a 1 mole sample, percent water would be. So if I had 1 mole of this whole thing, I would have 6 waters. So if you want to do the 6 waters, you can either do, if you know water, the molar mass of water is 18 grams per mole, you could do that, or you can break it up as 12 hydrogens and 6 oxygens. But we have a total of 6 waters. So I'm going to break it up. 12 hydrogens, each are 1 gram per mole, and 6 oxygens, each are 16 grams per mole. That's going to be the mass of our water divided by the total mass. The total mass will be the molar mass of the whole thing. So if you had 1 mole of it, what mass is the whole thing? So we have 1 nickel. Nickel is, I believe, 58.7 grams. We have 1 sulfur, 32.1 grams. So this is the nickel, this is the sulfur. We have 3 oxygens, each are 16. And then we have our 6 waters. So within the 6 waters, we have 12 times 1. That's the 12 hydrogens in the water. And then also 6 oxygens. And that is all. And then times 100%. So add all that up, multiply by 100%, you get 43.8% water in nickel 2-sulfite hexahydrate.